Hello guys, good evening. It's TARFUAH on your screens once again. I know I asked you in my recent video to send me some questions where I'll be answering your concerns about the LSAT and coming to law school. I have been busy. I have about 2 weeks to exam and I haven't been able to make a video to answer all the questions. But today I came to study and I said, let me just use the opportunity to make a video and answer all your questions. So let's get started. I have some screenshots on here. The first question says, hello TARFUAH, I'm in Ghana and I would like to apply to law school in the US. I would like to know if I can get a full ride scholarship and does it cover my living expenses? Let me take this first part. It depends. So there are some schools. I know of a student who came last year to this law school. She got a full scholarship and she's also getting a $3,000 monthly yearly stipend, not monthly, yearly stipend. So there are some scholarships that will take care of your full tuition and give you something extra. It won't take care of all your living expenses like your rent throughout the year. They can support you a little bit with that. But most of the schools that I know of, like my school, it will just be your tuition. You're not gonna get support for your monthly expenses. So please have that in mind. This is just tuition mostly. It says, moreover, if I go to a middle tier law school, can I get to intern and work in a big firm? Of course. I have friends who go to law schools that are ranked 100 and something. And the best students in those schools are working with some of the biggest law firms in America. Not only some of, I mean the biggest law firm in America itself, Kirkland. I know students who are in schools ranked 120 something. The best students over there are getting jobs over there. So it is possible. And when I do summer internship in my first and second year, can I get enough money to cover my living expenses? As I heard, internships really pay good money. Thank you. So this is the final one. Yes, if you get the really good law firms, the really big ones, they can pay you enough to cover even your tuition. I've seen some amazing payouts. It's been incredible. Just bear in mind, it's quite difficult to get into those law firms, especially now in this political climate. If you're coming as an African international student, just bear that in mind. It's going to be much difficult to get jobs in those really good paying law firms, but it's not impossible. So yeah, it's possible and they pay really well. Anyway, I'm done with the first question. Let me head to the next one. Okay, this one is Nigerian. It says, hi TARFUAH, I am currently in my 4th year studying law in Nigeria. I want to know if it is possible that I apply for a transfer and continue studying law in the United States. That way I will be able to do the JD program in the United States. I plan to take the LSAT in June. Please, do you happen to know any Nigerian who did the same? Please, if you do, hope you won't mind sharing with me the email of the person. Okay, so just a lot. Let me break it down. You're already in your 4th year. If you're in your 4th year, I don't know how many years it takes to study law in Nigeria. I'm assuming it's 4 years, 5 years actually. Okay, so it's 5 years. If it's 5 years and you want to transfer, it's not possible. You can't not to my knowledge, you can't transfer from Africa in law school and then come finish. You would have to start all over again. And law school over here is 3 years. You have 3 options actually. Law school over here is 3 years. That's the JD program. If you're planning to write your LSAT in June, you can just come here after studying law in Nigeria and come to law school over again here 3 years. I know it's stressful, but that's one option. The second option, I know universities like the University of Iowa Law School, where they do the accelerated 2-year JD program. So they will give you 2 years to study law school over here and you will still graduate like a regular law student in America. That's an accelerated 2-year JD program. So you can write your LSAT, pass, and then research schools that offer the accelerated 2-year JD program. Your third option is you can do the LLM. So you can apply after law school in Nigeria, come here and do your LLM instead, which is only 1 year. So these are options that are available to you so you don't have to stress out after 5 years of law school in Nigeria. Know that with your LLM, you can still get a job in the United States. It's just much harder because law firms prefer that you attend law school here in the United States, not just come here to specialize. But it's still possible. I know LLM students that have gone on to get jobs, well-paying jobs in law firms. So these are the options that are available to you. Unfortunately, I do not know any Nigerian that transferred in the middle of law school here. It's not possible. I know a friend personally who was studying law in Ghana I was in Ghana with her at the time. She wanted to transfer and come here, was not possible. So she came here to do another degree, finished it, and now she's planning to go to law school. So they won't take transfers like that. I'm sorry. Going on to the next. Okay. This one says, I am starting law school this fall and I was wondering, what did you do during your 1L and 2L summers and what are your plans after graduation? Working big law, securing a clerkship or something else? Okay, let me start. I'm starting law school this fall. Well, congratulations if you're starting law school this fall. And what I did for my 1L and 2L summer. So 1L, I was a research assistant for my professor. We worked on this corporate law assignment. It was very convoluted, very long. Getting into it even stresses me out, the thought of it, but that was my 1L summer. It was really stressful. My 2L summer, I worked for a judge in a county court, a state court over here. So that was really nice. I worked on a lot of criminal law cases, which I've been interested in criminal law for some time now, but I'm also interested in corporate law. So I'm still trying to decide between both. That's basically I'm deciding. So I can't give you a definite answer for now, but this is it. Yeah, moving on to the next. Wow, this one is a long essay. Hi TARFUAH, it's me again. I hope you are well. I just wanted to make inquiries on your transition to law school. I am in my final year and almost done with my first semester. Okay, I have been advised to start studying for the LSAT now so that I can have enough time to study for it and also probably write it later in the year. That way, all things being equal, I'll start law school next year. Do you think this idea is feasible? Also, I would appreciate it if you could give me a timeline of your process from the beginning of studying for your LSAT. Thank you. This timeline is feasible. But it depends on how good you are. So you need to have an honest conversation with yourself. Are you very smart? If you are very smart and you can balance your final year in school with studying the LSAT, fine, it's feasible. But I will tell you personally that the LSAT is one of the most difficult standardized tests in the world. So there's that to consider. People cry for years before they make it in this LSAT. And I wouldn't want it to affect you while you're studying for your final year in the university. Remember, you also need a good GPA to apply to law school. So have an honest conversation with yourself. If you don't think you can balance both, focus on studying your final year, pass, and then focus on the LSAT. Take your time. Pass that one too and apply to law school. It's a painful process, but the reward is well worth it. It's what I'll say. For me, I remember I finished. So it was during my national service that I started studying for it. Yeah, I started studying for it during my national service, and then after my national service, I wrote. And then I passed, and then I came. So that was my timeline for writing. I don't know if that helps, but just remember that we are all different. I have friends who studied for 2-3 years before finally passing and coming. I also have friends who studied for a year, some studied for 6 months. It varies. Just have an honest conversation with yourself. I don't know what your GPA looks like. I don't know how good you are, but just have that conversation with yourself. Moving on to the next. Okay. Someone says, do you work while in school? Because I heard there is no time. I'm wondering because of the books you may have to buy. I will not lie, the books are expensive. These books are no joke. You might end up having to spend almost $2,000 on books alone for a semester, not even for a year. Law school books are no joke. You have the option to work while in school. I do not work while in school, but you have the option to work while in school. You can't work more than 20 hours a week on campus. So you can find some waiter job, some office job to do. You can't work more than 20 hours a week because that will go against your immigration guidelines. And with that, the pay is not that much, but you can manage. Also with your internship, if you find a really good paying internship with a law firm, that can also help to support you. So there's options, but basically what I'm trying to say is yes, you can work in school. That's possible. All right. Let's see. Are the potentials to work I could get restricted to only on-campus jobs. I know the work hours are restricted to 20 hours weekly, but not really sure if you can get a job outside of campus. I'm sorry, you can't get a job outside of campus if you're an international student. And right now with the political climate, don't come and try to outsmart the system. You'll cry. You can only work on campus, and then during your vacations you can get an internship with a law firm. It has to be law based. Your school must approve it before you can work, and then earn bigger money during the vacation. So this is it basically. I have seen some immigration forms where international students can fill. It talks, you have to prove extenuating hardship conditions. If you can prove that you are really struggling, you fill those forms and give them your proof, and they might give you some permission to work while schooling. So there's that option. I'm not an immigration lawyer. I didn't do immigration law, so you might have to talk to someone else about this. Get better knowledge before you put yourself in trouble. Okay. We have a final one. Okay. My question is, can I prepare for the LSAT in my current jurisdiction without having to move upstate? And is it even possible to take the exam from here, Nigeria? And what material would you consider the most appropriate to use for the LSAT study? Okay, so the first one is, can I study in Nigeria? Of course you can. I studied in Ghana. I studied while doing my national service. So you can study in Nigeria. You can write it in Nigeria. Right, since the COVID, people have been writing it online. You just have someone monitoring you online. So you need to be in the room. You need to scan the room, make sure there's nothing there for the proctor who is watching you, and then you write for the period of time you've been given while the proctor is watching you. You can do all of this in Nigeria. You don't need to come to the States. What material would I consider the most? I don't know what I would consider most appropriate, because I didn't look at a lot of materials. I only use my classes. I've always talked about Mr. Fred, who was my tutor. He taught me. And then there was one book that I also used, which is Mike Kim's LSAT Trainer. Mike Kim's LSAT Trainer. So that was the only book I ever read about the LSAT. I couldn't compare that to anything and give you an accurate answer. I'm sorry, but this is what I used. Hope that helps. Anyway, thank you for your questions. I hope I answered them to the best of your understanding. If you have any more, do let me know. I will respond to you on Instagram or Facebook. I will put my handles on the video for you guys. Have a nice week. I will see you when I see you, because it's exam period. Stay blessed. Bye.